Since Friday, Jet Airways staff have been staging demonstrations. They're calling for the Indian government to intervene, and they want lenders to find a way to rescue the carrier.
Please save our airline. It was one of the premier airline, and we are facing a lot of difficulties. We have families to feed.
Now the feeling is of also of despair, frustration. Like we want our salaries, at the same time we want to save our airlines.
Jet Airways is billions of dollars in debt, and it now desperately needs another cash injection. Thousands of flights have been canceled with little or no notice for passengers. The airline doesn't have enough planes. Jet Airways says it has an overall fleet of 119 aircraft, but the number of planes has plummeted to just 7. The carrier has been unable to pay aircraft leases on time. They're well below the Indian regulator's minimum requirement of 20 aircraft for any carrier operating international flights. Now Jet Airways employees fear any rescue could be too late.
What we would like to appeal is, the appeal is to the Prime Minister to save Jet Airways, to save 20,000 plus jobs which are at stake here, to pay our salaries. The salaries have been irregular for the last 7-8 months. We haven't been paid for the last 4 months.
Jet Airways staff aren't the only ones who fear losing jobs if the airline tumbles. For Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is running for re-election, getting the needed votes may depend on finding a buyer for the beleaguered airline in time.
Well, let's talk about that with Ashutosh Pandey, who's following this story for us. Ashutosh, just how important is fixing this problem for Modi's re-election bid?
Well, Ben, honestly, it's not going to have much of an impact on his political fortunes. It's more about perception or sending the right message. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi would not want a prominent airline that employs more than 20,000 employees to go bust under his watch. I mean, he has actually boasted about his pro-business credentials all through the past 5 years, and even before that when he was the Chief Minister of a province in India. So having said that, he wouldn't want that to happen under his watch. And that's the reason why we are seeing state-owned banks coming to the rescue of a private company. It's a rare move by a state-owned bank and a consortium of banks led by the State Bank of India.
Wasn't this one of the, or the biggest airlines at its time, at its height, by market share? And what went wrong?
Well, it did not anticipate back then that there would be this sudden rise of low-cost budget airlines. And once they came in, like airlines like Indigo, SpiceJet, it was always left playing this catch-up game. Okay, so it did bring down its fares, but it continued to operate as a full-service carrier. As a result, it took up a lot of debt, around $1 billion worth of debts, and hence the condition that we find this airways today in. Also, what did not help Jet Airways cause was the volatile crude oil prices. Well, that has actually hurt the entire aviation sector, a fast-growing aviation sector in India, touted to be the third largest aviation market in the world in the coming 5 to 10 years. So, but Jet Airways, where it lost out was the fact that it could not catch up, and it always kept playing this catch-up game.
Okay, so it took a long time for it to try catching up, but it never did.
Yeah.
And now it's in financial trouble, and you've got all of these pilots who haven't even been paid. Why is it taking so long to fix this problem?
Well, I believe that Jet thought all this while that it could actually weather the storm. As it has done in the past few years, it has actually managed to weather the storm. But there's also an important factor, and that is its founder, Naresh Goyal. Now, Naresh Goyal was reluctant in the first place to give up control of Jet Airways. And that actually dissuaded many potential investors to actually make some investment in Jet Airways. He did not want to give up control of the airways.
Wow.
Now he has given up control. And hence, we have this debt restructuring deal, and the SBI-owned led consortium has taken control. Hopefully, there would be a solution to this, but experts are not very optimistic at this point of time, because the consortium hasn't actually infused or given the money that it has promised so far, and hence the meeting today that they're discussing about whether it could actually give a part of the sum it had promised.
So the waiting game continues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ashutosh, thank you very much for coming in.
Pleasure.